Welcome back to The Push. Here are your hosts, Ryan and River. We are b.creativ. So today we're going to get into number 3 of the 11 sustainable business fails that are killing your business. Your social posts are flat and boring.
Boo.
Boo! Calling you out on it. Just kidding. We're going to get into how can you make your social posts a bit more dynamic? What can actually grab people's attention, and not just grab their attention, but convert them as customers buying your products and services today? Let's get into it. So I am more of a critic in this arena, and River has a lot of experience actually doing the thing. So today I'm going to ask him some questions, get his answers, and let's get started. So River, what makes content boring and lame?
Boring and lame content. Okay. Let's can I tell a story?
Please.
Okay. So you're in New York, you're on the J train, riding the metro in DC, you're on the tube in London, you're driving your car around San Francisco, whatever. And you look up and you see an advertisement. And we've all seen this advertisement. There's a couple and they're like kind of cuddly and they have like a cell phone in their hand, and then it says like Verizon or AT&T or one of these shitbag companies. And then like in big letters it says, 2-for-1 cell phones, $99. It's something to that effect, right? And this is just complete garbage, right? It's garbage in the sense that they've probably printed hundreds of thousands of these posters, put them all over the place. They've probably demoralized some intern and subjected him to some type of like terrible lack of creative environment where he's forced to create this just absurdly boring poster. And so in the meeting, right, they have the meeting, what kind of creative do we want to fly around the country in these different cities? And someone says, oh yeah, let's do that 2-for-1 $99 ad spend, right? And then everyone sits there and they kind of look at each other and are like, okay, well, what's the result of this ad that we're looking for? And the guy goes, oh, well, we're immediately going to want someone to jump off at the next stop and run, sprinting into the AT&T store, begging for someone to convert their cell phone plan, right? And we know realistically that's never happened, ever, in the history of any human being living on this planet. No one's ever stopped in their tracks for an advertisement like this because it's not art. And so what makes a post flat and boring is it not being or having that inherent artistic value,
It's kind of selfish. The advertisement is selfish in that it's not providing me any value. It's demanding my attention, not demanding my attention, but it's in my visual view, and I am belabored to look at it. It has taken time from my day, even just for a couple moments to look at it, but it hasn't added any value to make me think, whoa, that's cool. Like I'm glad that I saw that today. So it's selfish in that it's not enriching my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see things that, that really make me stop and make me smile, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Maybe it is an ad. And it does that, and if it does that, then it really, really achieves that goal for me. But if it's not adding that type of enrichment in my life, then it's wasted effort.
Wasted resources, wasted time, wasted money, wasted creative. It's just a waste.
Sure. And you don't need a 2-for-1 special. Some businesses can't afford to give 2 products away for the price of one. And they don't want to mark up one product double just so that they can have a 2-for-1 special to bring it back down to an average price, right? So you don't need to do those things, but if you present your product, your services, and show why it's good for that person, why it's good for the environment and the world, but you do it in an artistic manner, you don't have to give things away 2-for-1.
We live in an ephemeral world, right? And these are different forms of ephemeral media, very short lived, very short term. And so if it doesn't have any inherent value, it's wasted space. It's flat. It's boring. It's not going to provide anything for us or you or anyone that you're trying to actually provide value for. And we're actually reading this old Soviet propaganda movie poster collector's book or whatever. And it's very interesting because at that time, those movie posters were extremely ephemeral, right? Every week there was a new movie, and then the Soviet regime would then pull the movie, and no one would ever see it ever again. And they had these movie houses printing these old posters. I mean, they're old now. At the time that they were current, and so. But what makes these posters so valuable now, and hopefully what they were appreciated for then, is that the studio houses that were creating them were creating art. And they were creating these really cool, intricate, avant-garde, kind of trippy out there. And they weren't even allowed to watch the movies most of the time. So they would just get a little writing sample of, this is kind of what the movie's about. There's a guy, he goes here and he does this, and they have to fabricate this crazy piece of art that's made on, subpar materials and subpar printing machines in an extremely fast pace every single week under the pressure of a Soviet regime that wants everyone to believe what they're talking about, and then poof, it's gone. And now, 100 years later, people have actually collected these items because of their artistic value. And so if you're going to produce something, and this is what we talk to our clients about a lot, is that, produce something that has inherent value. Is someone going to be willing to hang this in their room at some point in time? Because no one's ever going to hang that $99 a month 2-for-1 cell phone special the way that it currently is now, and so you really just have to think about what you're doing, what the creative is, and what the point and the purpose of that advertisement is. Because if it doesn't have that inherent value and it's flat and boring, you're wasting the bandwidth of your fellow humans.
That attention span. One of the things I pulled from what you just mentioned was the creators in the Soviet era, as you referenced them. They had limited resources. They had, low-tech machinery, and they had a limited view of what that movie that they were creating the poster was about. But working within that box, they allowed themselves to get super creative. And I think that goes to the point of today where you're a business owner. Maybe you do have a marketing person, but there's a lot of tasks going on. There's a lot of you don't have all of the time, all of the money, all of the resources to be building amazing, to be putting a lot of time into creating content. But if you think about it the right way and you have fun with creating it and you take pride in what you're putting out there, you can be really effective. And there's a certain type of creativity that comes from having limited resources, but doing the best you can with them and being still stoked about what you're pushing. So why do these types of content that don't really present themselves as art, why do they exist, and why do brands post them?
These pieces of content exist because of a limitation within resources. And you just touched on a couple of these, but it's a limitation with time, creative, and money most of the time, right? And so, especially with sustainable business owners, you may not have the same resources as a Kraft or a Nestle or a Coca-Cola. And so for you, it's not feasible to outsource an agency that's going to charge you $150,000 a month in an ad spend plus another million in creative. And then on the other side of things, you're running a business. You know, what's most important to you is your bread and butter, right? And your bread and butter is you making this business profitable and selling and getting into different stores and getting distribution and finding manufacturing partners and doing whatever it is necessary, implementing new sustainability practices, becoming more circular within your business model. This is where your time is focused. And so for you to go spend 2 or 3 hours every other day on Canva to create a post when you didn't go to art school, you didn't go to design school, you've never worked for an agency before, this isn't your specialty, you know? And so are those 3 hours better suited for you building the business, right? And then the result of that is, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes because I know that I need to get something up on social media, because I know that I need to engage in my community. And so whatever it looks like, anything, I know I have to get it up there, bam, 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 and you put it up there. It's flat. It's boring. It doesn't really have meaning. It's not engaging any of your community. And so there's no inherent value, you know?
From my perspective, social media as a business owner is meant to, sure, it's meant to create community, but you're there to sell. You're there to sell your products. It's an advertising channel, a marketing channel for your business ultimately. And sometimes that is creating brand awareness so that you can sell down the road. Sometimes it's educating your customers right now so you can try to sell something this week. But sunsets don't sell anything. Pictures of your dog, while they're cute, don't sell anything. So I think, you really need to implement sales techniques, and you really need to present your product in a fun and engaging way with those sales techniques on these channels to have the returns on your time that you're looking for. What are your favorite pieces of content that you see on social media?
My favorite pieces of content. For me, it has a lot to do with art, right? And I think you might be able to speak a little bit better to what is interesting, right? So I'm going to flip this question on you, and I'm going to say, can you tell me what your favorite types of content are?
Sure. For me, again, it's the art, right? But what type of art? And I think animation art gets me a lot. One of the things that stick out in my mind first and foremost is, I like to surf, and I follow a lot of surf competitions, surf brands, and when they start a campaign with a funny, engaging animation with two funny characters, it cracks me up, and I love it, and I share it, and I freaking watch it 10 times because it just really gets me. And I think, but it's artistic. It looks like I'm reading a comic book when I see it, and it's really cool. Another one that I really love is the Vivo Barefoot. The Vivo Barefoot really added in elements of quick, fast-paced play with typography, where they would animate the fonts to be bigger, smaller, and move in a very engaging manner. They would show a picture of a foot and then show the X-ray vision of the foot and do the 360 view of that foot in both X-ray and non-X-ray. And they really played with almost like a visual infographic, but rad and edgy type of approach. And that was another one that I shared. And there's it's an interesting thing when you view an ad, whether it's a sponsored post or it's just a social post, and you share it. I don't just share ads.
No.
So if I share an ad, it is
super sick,
super awesome, and that is a goal achieved for that business.
I think something that I'm hearing you say, kind of indirectly, is that it holds a narrative, right? It's telling a story, and we can link to the Vivo Barefoot campaign, and this wasn't something typical that they do all the time, which is why we especially noticed it. But they're telling the story of the foot reacting and living kind of within their shoe, and what is it like to wear their shoe? Well, it's like, the x-ray kind of just shows it's the foot. You can't really see the shoe, you just see the foot.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you see the foot in the shoe, and it kind of goes back and forth and tells this story about the experience, which is nice. And like you had mentioned about the surfing and stuff, it's really having a narrative and telling a story. And then under all of that, you kind of have this level of inception, right, of what are your goals. And a lot of people jump at social media with no goal. Just, I have to post something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mentality. And so there's no underlying goal. And we see, agencies or whatever, social media people that rip companies off quite frequently. And the companies don't see. And so, they're paying $600 or $6,000 a month. And, they stop working with this company. And then, somehow they get in contact with us, and we're talking to them, and they're like, well, we kind of just want you to do some branding for us. We don't know about, the whole advertising and marketing. We've been ripped off before by other companies. And, we're kind of like, well, what was the situation? We're like, oh, well, we just threw $6,000 at this company, and nothing really happened. I'm like, well, did you guys have goals? They were like, what kind of goals would we have? I'm like, oh shit! You guys didn't even talk to you about goals or anything. Or are you looking to increase sales? Are you looking to increase your exposure? Do you want to increase reach, expand these different things? Do you want to build brand loyalty? All of these are different goals, and they're all going to have different results. And so, if we just want to go to market for a new shoe company that's coming out, we want to take a specific part of the campaign, and we want to create content in an artistic way, like kind of in this Vivo Barefoot campaign that we've been talking about, so that we can build that exposure, we can build that awareness. But that's not necessarily going to translate into immediate sales, and that needs to be relayed to the client, especially to say, hey, look, this is your goal. Your goal is to get exposure. So your return on investment is going to look more like a statistic on a piece of paper to say, hey, over the course of 4 weeks, we did an exposure campaign for you, and we reached 2.5 million people, And so those 2.5 million people now become a target demographic for you moving forward, that then you can do a follow-up campaign, right? Oh, now we're really going to go to market. We're going to launch the shoes. We're going to do some pre-sales. Okay, so now we're going to do a campaign built around actually getting pre-sales in the door, getting email subscriptions. And then the metric that you're measuring in that point is, how many email signups did we have? How many pre-sales did we have? How many GoFundMes did we have? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have a next campaign. Now we're going to go all the way. Now let's how many sales, and now this is a sales push. And so now we do a 3-month campaign built around sales. And then that return on investment looks like we have 3 campaigns that added up to us selling all of these things. And then over 3 months, how much did we sell? And that's how we look at it. And so it's really important. And what happens is, if you don't have those metrics, and you're just putting out content that's flat and boring, right? You don't have a goal, you don't have anything, you're just paying someone to put content on the internet for you, which is completely meaningless. What are you doing?
So what would be your advice to a business owner or a marketing person on posting on social media?
just to bring back into the fold what I had just said, set goals. Really set goals. Really understand why you're using the platform and what the platform is for. Then determine the type of analysis metrics that you're going to use to prove your return on investment. That doesn't necessarily equal money, right? It equals some specific statistic that helps you or that reflects you have or have not accomplished the goal that you have set for a specific thing. I would say manage things in campaigns, right? So go 1 week at a time, or 1 month at a time, or 3 months at a time, but set a specific amount of time for analysis. Don't just say, we're going to get better at social media this year. You know, we're going to post something every day. Then the next thing is allocate your time and resources in an effective way. You know, so if you're not a creative, you didn't go to art school, you're not a marketing professional, you know, get help, right? That money is an investment into your business, and people are afraid of that. People are afraid of being cheated, being ripped off, because there's a lot of fakes out there. But this is your responsibility as a business owner to do your due diligence, right? Let me see proof. Talk to me in a conversation and tell me what potential goals I should have are, and how we're going to achieve those things, and how we're going to measure them, and then when you look at it, you know, you're going to be able to see, okay, either we failed, right, which means two sides. I either got ripped off because I didn't do my due diligence and, you know, we hired a shitty company, or we failed because something within the campaign didn't cohesively work together within the structure that you guys had set. And that's different, right? That means that you put in an effort, you tried, you put the money up, you did the thing, you didn't get the exact result that you wanted, but now you can learn from your mistake and you can move forward from there. So there's two different types of failure, right? There's the failure where you get screwed over, and there's the failure where you learn something. You still learn from being screwed over, but it's not the same value. It kind of takes an extra step. So I would say be comfortable investing in your business. It's like investing in yourself. You know, you go to college, it's an investment in you. You know, you take a course, you do your own personal MBA of hard knocks. That's an investment in yourself that you're committing. So commit to yourself and see it as an investment, and be willing to accept that you're going to receive a return on that, and really believe it. I would say don't waste your time. You know, don't waste your time on something that's not really going to serve you. Hire a professional. You know, if you are the number one sustainable toothpaste maker, I'm probably not going to go out and try to create a brand new toothpaste, because that's not what I'm passionate about. What I am going to do is go to the toothpaste expert, and I'm going to say, what's up, man? What's up with the expert in toothpaste over here? Can you hook me up with some amazing, perfect, sustainable toothpaste that I can use every day? And then I'm going to a resource that's available to me, and I'm doing my due diligence. I'm going to do my background research and see, you know, what's up? How is it packaged? What is it coming? What are the manufacturing? Is it fair trade? Do all of these things mesh with my belief system? And those are the points that I would say.
For me, make sure your content is engaging. That's kind of generic, that word. So what does that mean? Video over images. When you are scrolling on social media, what do you stop for? How long do you stop for certain posts? And if you analyze your own behavior, you will notice that you stop for video, and you will read the captions on that video if you can't listen to sound at that point. But if you analyze your behavior, you will see that the posts that you spend the most time looking at are video, plain and simple. So that's an actionable piece of advice, is implement video in your campaign strategy, or insist on video being implemented in your campaign strategy with the company or the person that you're working with to create your content. A couple statistics on video. Simply Measure reported video is shared 1,200% more than both links and text. And that more so goes for, say, like Reddit and Facebook, where you can post link and text content. 64% of customers are more likely to buy a product after watching a video about it, says HubSpot's video marketing statistics. HubSpot also says that it's estimated that 92% of people who consume mobile videos share them with other people. So one of the best ways to get your brand out there, to get new customers, to get more brand awareness, is to have your existing community members sharing the content that you're posting across their social networks. Each time one person shares that piece of content, it gets exposed to 2, 3, 4, 500 new people. And it's coming organically, coming from a person, not necessarily being pushed directly from your business. So that has even higher of an impact because it shows this person actually likes your product and it shows credibility. Product videos can increase purchases by up to 144%. And that comes from Neil Patel's product video conversion. Neil Patel, that G, that SEO G over there. So those are just a couple statistics to kind of back what we're saying about creating engaging content. And to me, that means creating video over imagery. And to what River was saying, get some help. You are doing an amazing job running your business. You're crushing everything. You need to get your message out there. It's your responsibility so that you can convert people who are buying unsustainable products to buying sustainable products so that you can have an impact on the world. That's your mission, that's your goal, that's your core. So enlist someone who's going to allow you to have the most impact possible.
So a couple, just to recap a couple of those points, okay? You're a sustainable business owner. What can you do to effectively make your social media more engaging? Set a goal. Measure your campaigns. Create engaging video. Did I miss one?
That about sums it up. Thank you for watching. My name's Ryan.
My name's River.
And we are Be Creative. This is The Push. This podcast is not wrapped in plastic. Peace.